giver of light and life, not just what surrounds us, but what lives within as well. I start off with a few facts about our Kauri tree, so welcome to those who've just arrived. 2,500 years old, 52 metres in height, 14.06 metres in girth, the largest tree in the southern hemisphere, 5th largest tree in the world by volume of wood. So they've got 3 root systems. The first one is a taproot that sits approximately 5 to 6 metres deep. Shallower again are your lateral and pegging roots. These root systems interact and communicate with your primary and secondary trees. It's the feeding root that we need to be mindful of. It sits 1 metre, if not shallower, below the surface of the soil, triple the size of the crown, and a 360 degree circumference is where that root system lies. So with this guy, approximately 45 metres, which takes us all the way out to that wash station.
Wow.
So it's really important for us to have the fauna and flora around, not only stabilising that root system, but also giving the food and nutrients these giants need in order to stay healthy in our forests. Those are the rosellas that we've got that's come from Australia. So here we have the trunk. There's 3 distinguishing factors on the trunk. That first one is relating back to the brother of the whale, the descaling, the dropping of the bark. This is a form of self-cleaning that only these trees in the world can do. The breaking up ecolites, the parasites, the mosses, anything that should not be there is their way of self-cleaning. The second form of self-cleaning is what we call abscission. So when they drop their branches, they do so at the node and then seal themselves off with gum. And there's just the reason of that. And that prevents knots from forming. Unlike the planking of wood, there is knots which creates weakness. These trees are dead straight with no weakness within, which is why they got cut down in the first place. Now we go to the knobbly nodes. That is from past trauma when a branch has come down and hit him and he's bled out. I liken it to you and I. If we cut ourselves, we bleed, but we've got to grab a band-aid. This is their band-aid. It seals themselves off. It stops the parasites from able to enter into where there could be lesions and things there. And we know it's healthy because it's amberous in colour. When it goes to a white sap, we know our trees aren't healthy. And you can see that golden colour up on the broken branch that became waterlogged, it snapped, and that light colour sharding is actually gum. And you've got it even on the nodes dripping as well, like icicles. And then we go to the diamond pattern in Tane's trunk. This is so unique to him. This is his thumbprint. No 2 trees are the same. Yes, they all twist, but that diamond is created because of the weight he carries up in his crown. There's more volume of wood up above him than even in his trunk. And so as he's growing up, it's creating that diamond. Now the twisting, Māori say it's chasing the sunlight, true and correct. But it's a little bit more than just that. It's actually the movement that the wind creates. It's the stresses happening on the bark and on the outside of the wood, not going all the way to the centre. It acts as a muscle, allowing him to stand tall and strong, which is what his name is. Mahuta, standing tall and strong. Tane is boy or man. So if they didn't twist, they can't rely on that root system. That root system's so shallow, the water table in our soil gets so sodden here that these trees have been known to be pushed over in strong wind because that root system can't stabilise them enough for the size of tree that they are. So that's their way of counteracting and allowing them to support the weight that they have to stop them from being pushed over in big strong winds. Now we go to the crown, creating a gum bowl, stabilising that plant life, but also stops the rot and the moisture from sitting in and entering in and doing damage to his soft, dense wood. There is over 100 different plant species living on him and within him up in his crown. That ranges from your ferns, your flaxes, your lichens, your mosses, your flowers to over 5 bonsai trees. So we've got a totara. Here's an example of a totara. 120 years old approximately, but only stands a metre high. There's a pahutakawa, our beautiful Christmas tree. There is a rata that flowers the white colour, not the red. The red is a little bit more valid. And there are 3 kauri trees. The reason that we can have a Kauri tree living inside the host tree is because these trees are part of the conifer family, producing a male cone represented here on our paneling and a female cone represented here. These trees are self-seeding, self-pollinating. They are a they. It's us humans that give them the boy and the girl names that they have, because essentially they're both because of those seeds. It takes 18 to 24 months for the female cone to come to maturity. They continue to grow these throughout that lifespan and not just waiting for the 18 months to produce a new one. There are several male cones that sit above and around that female cone. On the tree, she opens her individual seeds up, and there's about 100 in each cone, and he pollinates. 48 hours after pollination, he knows he's done his job, he dies and drops to the forest floor. And then she closes on the tree, continues to mature, getting to the size of a golf ball to a tennis ball, and green in colour on the tree. And between the months of October through to March, our forest becomes alive with popping sound. And that's literally these female seeds exploding open and fearing their way down to the forest floor. If they didn't pop, they land directly below and on that root system, or in between the roots. There's not enough food and nutrients for them to grow. So they rely on the wind, they rely on birds to pick up these seeds and deposit them throughout our forest. All these little seeds need is a tiny bit of moisture and a bit of soil, and they do grow. And that is evident by the Kauri tree that's growing on our leaning rata that goes up and over our boardwalk. There's a single trunk there, and that is approximately a 30 to 60-year-old Kauri growing inside that rata. So this is one of the reasons that we've become the largest living Kauri forest here in New Zealand in our 22.5 hectares that we call the Waipoua Forest. The other reason is in 1952, the Waipoua became a sanctuary. It was the signing of the protection order. It was a joyous day, but it was a very sad day as well. And that is because that was the day we lost a 4,000-year-old tree that stood off to the side of Tāne.